charged on the 31st of August of 2013 with obstructing a police officer in violation of 45 section 4. He was also charged on the same date with resisting arrest in violation of 45 section.
Those men were charged by me right back by staging an overthrow of the Constitution of 1789, an overthrow of the Bill of Rights, an overthrow of my rights to forage for food as a natural living person who was in hunger. I was searching for something to put in my stomach as I am recognized to be allowed to do what universal law has nothing to do with your corporate fiction. They violated everything, and furthermore, for your knowledge, they violated Judge Holly Brown's Title 26 United States Code ruling, which I went before her and prevailed on 21st March 2011. EPO 9-58A is the case number wherein she evidenced that I am not a taxpayer because I am not a federal citizen. Federal law trumps state law at every turn. I have 9 judge rulings to that end, and that trumps state law. I am not registered crap. I am the living man, and I have the right to forage for food when I'm hungry.
All right. But you're here on different charges.
That
This is not
what
Holly
stands.
Brown's courtroom.
Ma'am, you can argue this all day long. You're operating on corporate fiction.
I'm telling you, you're here on some charges which will file in your court.
I do not
Number
understand
one.
those charges.
Number one, you keep interrupting me, and I'm going to charge you with contempt, and you'll go to
All
jail.
contempt of court is spelled C-O-double-N. I know electronic desk navigation.
Sir,
Contempt is the story.
I said, be
Don't
quiet
touch me.
until I get
Don't
through
touch
to
me,
you.
you ain't a gun. Don't you touch me. I am the living man protected by universal law.
You keep
Stand
talking,
down.
and you're going to be charged with contempt, and you're going to go to jail.
You have already contempted this place.
No, I told
By
you
the
I
fraud
would if
you're
you
trying
didn't
to
quit
get done
talking.
here. These are the living witnesses to what you're trying to do.
Very
You
good.
are trying to create a fictitious fraudulent action. You are trying to build the Federal Reserve by
Sir.
securitizing in all caps commercialized names
Sir.
and notifying
Would you
them
remove him from
that
court?
they are standing in debt now. If you touch me, you will violate natural law. Do not come near me. I am
Then
protected
shush.
by the land.
Shush.
Do not tell me to shut up. I am the living natural man, and my voice will be heard. That is the Jolly Roger. That thing you call the American flag with the gold fringe around it is the Jolly Roger, and you are acting as one of his privateers.
Okay, you're here on the charge of arrest.
I'm here by
arrest.
special visitation.
That's right. And
I've
you're
never
here
let
on
you get away with
obstructing
this.
a
You bet
police
I'm here.
officer. To each charge, subject to a $500 fine up to 6 months in jail.
I do not understand any charges. I only understand universal law and the right to live.
Well,
To
you
live
pled
at
not
peace
guilty.
and to live as I need to.
You pled not guilty in this
I
court.
never plead. Animals plead. Sound like bah, oink oink.
I have a paper with your signature on it, sir.
It says prime evidence standing right through it. You bring forward all natural forms of evidence that I'm not prime evidence. I am the living soil. The dirt, the water, and the air has its own voice, does it not? It all supports
Sir?
forms of life, does it not? I am a part of that life. I am not your corporate fiction.
Sir,
Do not danger me.
we're here today on an omnibus hearing. You've already pled not
I am
guilty.
here by special visitation to see to it that you do not danger my natural living man's name.
Are you prepared
That's
to
why
tell
I'm
the
here.
court if you wish to go to trial on this matter?
This is a trial. Tell
No,
me
this
it's not.
isn't a trial.
Here's my
This
jury
is an
of my
omnibus
peers.
hearing, sir.
You cannot produce a jury of my peers because all juries are selected from a pool of registered voters, and the instant a person registers to vote, their natural ability as a peer to comprehend natural law has been resolved and turned into fiction. There cannot be raised a jury of my peers. It cannot be done.
Excuse me for just a moment.
No way. Get back here and finish this. Hey, get back here and finish this. The judge has left the courtroom. There you go.
Yeah.
There is nobody in this courtroom. The judge has walked out. I said no excuse.
And on that note, it's time to start the show. Good evening, loyal listeners, first-time listeners, and those of you who may have listened to me in the past but forgot I existed because I haven't done a show since early August,
Or those listening against your will.
as I used to say. This is the one, the only, Captain Controversy and the Revolution, where revolution is in the air, but you don't need to bring a gun. I said it both ways, don't I? And conducting and trying to predict my patterns of speaking, sitting to my left, he is the thorn in my side. He is my devil's advocate. He is everything that is wrong with America, but is right with monogamy. It's the friendly neighborhood fascist. How are you doing?
That was a compliment. I'm doing good. I am doing.
You're doing
good.
well.
I'm doing all sorts of adjectives.
And anyway, it's been crazy. Okay, we just had the holidays this weekend, and Walmart, they're giving charity to their workers in a very insulting way.
It's insulting.
A Pizza Hut manager took a stand, lost his job, and people in America really don't trust each other. But hopefully, people will trust my advice that they never asked me for later and shut up, nobody asked you. That's all coming up later. But first, I want to talk about what we just listened to.
Oh my god.
A man of natural law. And I feel like this can be taken many different ways because I have no real feelings about this. A lot of times I tend to get angry. I tend to like to scream at the government. But I want to have a serious, practical discussion here. Like we always have, Andy. And you can tell that I definitely set it up for a serious discussion the way I introduced this man.
Sacks.
That, I never knew what that was called.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so here's the deal. The guy was fishing without a license.
Yeah.
And he was citing
Simple
natural
enough.
law. What is natural law, Andy? Do you know what natural law is?
No, that's strike number one against him, is no one has any clue what the heck he's ranting about.
Well, let's go to dictionary.com and see if they can give me a definition for natural law. Type it in here. What is... Oh, I accidentally typed a Y at the end. Natural law. The development of natural law is one of the most influential parts of Thomist philosophy, or Thomist. Never heard of this, but it's
and you're off to Wikipedia.
Yeah. So, regards a document in medieval philosophy. What happens if I just search natural law? Natural law, or the law of nature, is a system of law that is purportedly determined by nature, and thus universal. It refers to the use of reason to analyze human nature, both social and personal, and to deduce binding rules of moral behavior from it. It is often contrasted with the positive law of a given political community, society, or state. So in legal theory, the interpretation of positive law requires some reference to natural law. So, on this understanding of natural law, it can be invoked to criticize judicial decisions about what the law says, but not to criticize the best interpretation of the law itself. So basically, you can't win that game.
What game?
You can't win that in the court of U.S. law, because the fact is, natural law is not actually in the books. It's just kind of like the argument about natural-born rights that the government hasn't given us. Like, you agree, remember, we've talked about marriage equality in the past. You and I both agree that marriage equality should be a natural-born right, don't we? We've discussed that before. But it's not, because we rely on government to give it to us, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Is it not?
Or, well, either it's scary or reassuring that we all have, in theory, that we've all sat down and agreed on the rule book, and, these are the rules we play by, and, and if you don't like it, then convince people to change it.
Yeah, it's obvious that he didn't like some of the ways it's set up. I mean, he did not choose a lawyer. Of course, if he had a lawyer, I can't imagine what... I think the lawyer would just try to beg him to plead guilty, and they'd end up fighting.
I think the lawyer would have walked out a half hour before the judge.
Well, public defender. Everybody has a right to a public defender. Couldn't you just see him yelling at his lawyer, too? Like, you get back here! I have the right to have you as my representation!
I don't see how anyone could take this guy seriously. Sounds like this sounds like a sitcom more than anything. Like, I still can't quite believe that this actually happened, you know? It's just a little too ridiculous. I don't know.
Well, on the surface it seems ridiculous. But when you think about it, he just wants to live off the land. He's taking what he needs, no more. He's not looking to turn a profit. The guy just wants to eat some fish. And he wants to be independent from, he wants to be independent. Where can he go to find that life? Is there any escape from government? Anywhere? Should people have a right to that escape from government somewhere?
I think a lot of these preservation laws are around specifically because human beings have a fairly long track record of being abusive and ridiculous when set loose on the ecosystem.
And that's the purpose of fishing licenses, to control the population.
To keep people from
We don't want fish to go extinct.
So at least we can have some sort of tabs on what the heck we're doing to those fish, because, let's face it, we need those fish. And there are smart ways to go about fishing, and there are smart, efficient ways that not... I mean, just everyone just saying, oh, whatever, go catch your own fish. Do what you will. Is not always the best give and take with the ecosystem. There's a balance to be found. And I don't think just setting people loose is the right way to go about that.
To an extent, I kind of agree with you. But at the same time, the man was arrested and brought to court over this. Normally, you'd think if you're fishing without a license, okay, you fine the guy. But does he even have the money to pay the fine? I mean, you see what the guy looks like. He looks like a homeless man. Why waste the time and energy on this?
You know
of
why?
all things.
You know why? Because if you get a police officer angry enough, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like a bad thing, but this guy, I guarantee, talk to that guy for 5 minutes and you'd be looking for an excuse to arrest him. I mean, I know people that have gotten arrested for similar amounts. I know a guy that did time for, he was driving with one of his taillights out, and then cop pulled him over and got spooked and ran, and they said, well, resisting arrest. Which he was. Cop pulled him over and he took right off again.
The point is, okay, this man, his name is Ernie, by the way, not exactly the lovable Muppet. Far from it.
And I care why?
But anyway, I just had, because his name's Ernie. I had to play on.
Okay.
He's not exactly a lovable Muppet that you... I mean, he's probably never taken a bath in his life. But, I mean, unless he lives off the land and takes a bath in the lake water that all those same fish piss and shit in. But anyway, basically, he was going by his own code. He was committing a victimless crime. And you know how I feel about victimless crimes.
It's not victimless if you ask the fish.
Okay, well, okay, fair enough. But anyway.
We're defending those who can't defend themselves.
Anyway, he was committing a victimless crime. And whoever this was who decided to arrest him was basically bringing him up on that. And this man, who does not go by those laws, who lives on his own, goes by natural law, apparently he's not a registered voter, so the way he sees it, because he's not a registered voter, he's not a part of our system, and as long as he stays in the woods and off the grid and away from everybody else, he should be able to do damn whatever the hell he wants. Maybe even kill a man. I don't know. That's why he resisted the arrest. As far as he was concerned, that cop was just a random person trying to invoke tyranny upon him, and that's why he resisted it. So he considered that charge to be completely null and void. This is his argument.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get inside his head here. Because if I don't, who will? He didn't even use a lawyer. Did Did we talk about that on air, or were you talking about that when this was being muted? The fact that he waived his Sixth Amendment rights?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even plea anything. He didn't acknowledge the fact that he could plead the Fifth and not talk, because they asked him to plea.
I'm here for special visitations.
He wouldn't even use what was in his favor. He didn't care. As far as he was concerned, it's basically like he'd been kidnapped. It's almost like some movie where some alien enemy person just probes you and sends you up and starts asking you questions, and you're like, I don't have the answer to you. I'm in this republic or whatever, and now I'm just talking all random and weird. But basically, as far as he was concerned, this was just a silly old woman in a robe, and everything was irrelevant, and he wasn't going to play along.
Either that, or he's like I don't know, the belligerent, slightly drunken uncle that, since it's Thanksgiving time, the guy that shows up and says, I don't have to... I was going somewhere with that.
So what should we do with this man? What should we do with him? What should happen?
Oh my god. I charge him as fine and just set him loose. It's not going to be a big fine.
Well, apparently he's in jail. Because even though that judge walked out of the courtroom, he did come back to court again. Little update, I saw this article today. He got convicted. He's in jail now. I mean, I feel like the jail thing is about the resisting of the arrests. And he was basically resisting an arrest that he thought was unjust and that they had no right to do.
But
would it be wrong to institutionalize him? I feel like that would be unethical too, and that would just kill my argument if I said that he should be institutionalized.
Let's go back to what I said, which is fine him and set him loose.
Just let him do his thing. Maybe he
slap on the wrist and just
maybe he should try Canada. Their population is way less. I bet he would go unnoticed. Anyways,
there are a lot of places where he could go unnoticed, and I think some place where he's getting arrested for fishing without a license is not exactly secluded off in the distance.
I mean, he doesn't want to go live in an urban area where the police fight real crimes. I mean, he's living off the land. Unfortunately, it's in those areas where cops have nothing better to do but to harass you over the little things. Like here in Tecumseh, where we're broadcasting this highly professional show. Cops are just looking to bust kids for smoking cigarettes. That's how they get off. Oh, you got a broken taillight. I better pull you over and make sure you're not drunk. That's Tecumseh. Up in Montana, which is even less dense than around here. Way less dense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because we're in the most dense part of the state, southeast Michigan. They're just like, oh, here's this guy fishing. Better ask him if he has a license.
You don't know where he was fishing.
He ought to get a boat and just go out in the middle of the water where no one can see him. Oh, but that's not living off the land. God forbid you develop some credit. He probably has no credit. He probably has no record. I mean, how do we even get this guy's name? Okay, his name. I just accidentally clicked off when I tried to click on the link, I ended up hitting the fucking X button. God, I'm doing well. Anyway, his name is in Montana. Okay. His name is Ernie Tertegte. It's spelled Tertegte. What's that name?
Okay. Here's my guess.
Who is this man?
Here's my guess about this guy. My guess is he's not really homeless. He's not really living off the land. He's not subsiding entirely on fish he catches with his bare hands kind of thing.
So what's he doing then?
I think he was fishing, and I think he felt he had every right to go fishing, and I think he entirely intended on eating that thing. But I think he's got a house somewhere.
That's my woods.
I don't even know about the middle of the woods. I think this is just a grumpy guy with a weird sense of legality that just got all up in arms. I was hungry, I went fishing, and now I'm here. What's your problem?
You know what would be ironic? Is if people with this philosophy all decide to form their own nation. Because this guy subscribes to a philosophy of no nations. Imagine, kind of like the Imagine song by John Lennon when you think about it.
Yeah.
You may say this man's a dreamer. And really, that's all he is, because the man brought him down. But it's really sad when you think about it, because, honestly, this guy's never going to change. We're not going to change, but it's just weird.
Fine him and let him go.
Just a bizarre story. And I am definitely going to be interested in keeping tabs with this.
I love how it's... I love the title of the article, because it's just so... Well, it is Hunger Games in Montana.
Yeah.
Man forces judge off the bench. Like, it's so...
She could have
completely misses the point.
Yeah, she could have
completely blows out of proportion.
She could have taken that. I don't know what she was thinking, getting up and leaving.
Where did they even get Hunger Games from? What?
You're
like
hungry,
the
you
Hunger
fish.
Games!
You're hungry, and you fish for food.
So he was hungry. There's a movie in theaters that's called The Hunger Games, and they said, "Wow, this will draw in the readers."
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so. And it did.
It got you.
Well, it is my lead. Naturally.
Naturally.
But what do you think of the concept of natural law? Do you like it?
In really, like, in broad theory, sure, I guess, but I honestly, no. I like the idea of a people, deciding, laying out the rules that they play by one way or another. I think natural law is sort of this... It's a philosophy, it's a way to critique the laws that you develop as a nation, as a culture, but it's not the be-all, end-all, it's not something you can build your life around.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand that, too, because with the whole concept of natural law, you're not going to write anything, you're not going to write down anything. Everyone's going to have their own definition of what it is.
Yeah.
Essentially, natural law would lead to anarchy.
There's no agreed upon...
He's an anarchist.
There's no agreed upon playbook.
He's an anarchist. It's the same. Don't they go hand in hand when you think about it? Natural law leads to anarchy.
I don't think they're identical, but...
They're not identical, but you can't have one without the other.
You can have anarchy without
natural
law.
I guess so. Yeah, you can't have natural law without anarchy. My bad. Because think about it. This man's idea of natural law might be different. Laws of nature. Someone else might say it's the laws of nature to take only what you need, and I say you only need one fish per week. And you can ration it out. Whereas this man says, no, I could fish as much as I damn well please, and never shave. So, yeah.
I don't know.
He probably has some animals hiding out in his beard that he could eat.
What?
I mean, if he gets hungry enough.
Now we're just going completely off the deep end.
Yeah. Speaking of off the deep end, if you ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of sorrow, well, I don't know how to swim, so I can't get you out of it. But I'll still answer your Facebook messages. I'll answer your tweets when I'm on there. And if you follow me on Spreaker, well, you'll always know when I'm on the air now, won't you?
How classy.
And if you're drowning, you can drown while listening to me.
They'll only get a couple minutes airtime out of that before they completely...
Well, some say drowning is one of the most painless ways of dying. Very peaceful, although I can't imagine it being that way.
Nope.
Because I imagine your eyes will be wide open and you'll just, oh my god, I can't breathe! Oh, and you're dead.
You feel every last second of that.
I'm drinking on tonight's show. I've never done that before. Because, see, I turned 21 a couple months ago. I've got a nice little glass of bourbon and Pepsi here. Andy, or I should say the fascist, has declined the alcohol. He does not fit into his mold. But how would a man like Ernest, the mountain man, do under your society, Mr. Fascist, sir? What would you do with him as the friendly neighborhood fascist that you are?
That's an interesting question. Oh. I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
No, I really don't.
Well, I'd let him do whatever. I'd let him do what he wanted, as long as he didn't.
That's you.
As long as he didn't extend natural law to, I can kill this person because I need his life. But I don't
Or-
think that's what natural law would extend to anyway. I feel like this man is harmless.
I want to say he's harmless, yeah. Unless he does something stupid.
Just leave the man alone. I mean, of course, what if he were to start, like, walking around the woods with, like, some type of explosive grenade launcher to hunt for animals, and then he tried to say, well, I'm just hunting for what I need. You don't have the right to take this away from me. I'm just imagining, what if we got, like, dangerous, fully automatic and explosive weapons in this guy's hands?
And see, that's why you can't build a functioning society around natural law.
You're a functionalist, aren't you?
It's gotta work.
Have you ever taken sociology?
Yeah?
There's 3 ways to look at society. You know, you've got your functionalism, you've got conflict theory, and you have symbolic interactionism.
Well, there's more than that. But
Those are the main 3.
Those are
You know what I
big
mean?
ones.
You sound like a functionalist. And I feel like I'm a combination of the other 2. A little bit.
Yeah. Above all else, it has to work. It can sound great. It can look great. You can make nice posters out of it.
But as a functionalist, you
doesn't
believe
work.
that the system works and that people are flawed. Whereas when you're a conflict theory, you would think that there might be something wrong with the system. I don't know. We're down to the last 3.5 minutes of this part. When we come back, the crazy rhubarb lady will be in studio, and she'll be sucking Andy's dick.
Woo!
Yeah. Citing it as alley property, and as for anybody who wants to suck it. Because that's what it is, according to her. Which, I think your girlfriend might disagree, considering you are the master of monogamy. Like I said at the beginning.
That's my new title?
No, but
No.
but I mean, at least you're sexually active now. I used to make fun of you for not having sex in your relationship. I can't do that anymore.
Thanks for broadcasting that to the world.
Well, I did before, remember?
I know,
When
yeah.
you weren't even on the air. At least I'm saying it to your face now.
Thank you.
Coming up in part 2. Thanksgiving. A time to spend with families and eat a shit ton of food. Watch football. Maybe take a nap if you want to. But to work on Thanksgiving? Well,
That can't
Did
happen.
not if your job is insignificant. I mean, if your job has to do with a matter of life and death, then, well, that's a different story. Obviously. Andy, did you work on Thanksgiving?
No.
See,
I don't have a job right now.
Yeah, that's right, you don't. You're just... You're unemployed. You're leeching off my tax dollars. Yeah.
No.
I know. Yeah.
I'm leeching off plenty of people's dollars,
Yeah,
but not yours.
Yeah. And, well, maybe 1/3% of my taxes, 3%, go to people in need. Oh, no. But anyway, I worked on Thanksgiving. Got time and a half. That's still only like a little bit north of $10 an hour. I didn't want to be there. Not gonna lie, I kind of resented every customer who came in that day.
Yeah.
At least for the first hour or 2 of my shift, and then I got a little nicer because I realized, you know what, I had Thanksgiving dinner before coming in. The Lions kicked ass, and if I'm just bitter to everybody, it's just gonna make this experience worse than it already is.
Congratulations on finding a positive work ethic amongst all the strife and hardship.
I still don't want to do it again next year.
Oh, I understand that.
But anyway, coming up in part 2, Walmart workers, they don't like working on Thanksgiving either. Pizza Hut manager gets fired because he won't make people work on Thanksgiving. All kinds of controversy. People trying to move Black Friday up to Thanksgiving, even though Black Friday is not a good thing. Retailers take the term Black Friday like it's a good thing. No, if you stick the word black in front of something, sorry to the African American community, it's not a good thing. There is.
Maybe.
I mean,
In a certain context.
That's what I mean, yeah. I threw in that joke there for that reason, but yeah. So coming up in part 2, we're going to talk about that. And then later, of course, Americans are less trusting than ever before. That's all coming up, and plenty more. Just stick around, unless you got something better to do.